Good evening. This is Nathan Cross with American Daily News, and at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Time this morning, every major bank in the United States went offline. Not partially, not temporarily, completely. JPMorgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, US Bank, PNC, Capital One, all of them. 247 million Americans woke up this morning unable to access their money. ATMs display error messages. Debit cards are declined. Mobile banking apps show blank screens. Online portals are frozen. Your money still exists somewhere in a database, but you can't touch it. You can't spend it. You can't withdraw it. And according to emergency briefings from the Treasury Department and the FBI that were leaked to us 40 minutes ago, this was a coordinated cyberattack launched by Iranian state-sponsored hackers in direct retaliation for yesterday's U.S. military strike on Tehran. This isn't a random ransomware gang. This isn't a criminal enterprise looking for Bitcoin payments. This is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Cyber Command executing the most devastating attack on American financial infrastructure in history. And they're not asking for ransom. They're just watching us burn. The Federal Reserve held an emergency meeting at 5 a.m. The Treasury Secretary has been in crisis talks with bank CEOs since dawn. The President is expected to address the nation within the hour. But none of that helps you right now if you need to buy groceries, fill your gas tank, or pay for your kids' medication. Because as of this moment, the American banking system is on life support, and nobody knows when or if it's coming back online. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what happened, how bad the damage really is, and what you need to do right now to survive the next 72 hours, as America's economy grinds to a halt. Because when people can't access money, civilization has a very short shelf life. Let's start with the timeline, because the precision of this attack reveals just how long Iran has been planning this. On February 18th, 6 days ago, cybersecurity firms detected unusual scanning activity targeting the API interfaces of major U.S. financial institutions. API stands for Application Programming Interface, the software layer that allows different banking systems to talk to each other. The activity looked like routine security testing. It wasn't. It was reconnaissance for what happened this morning. On February 22nd, 2 days ago, the scanning intensified to what cybersecurity experts call enumeration, the process of identifying every possible entry point into a system. Firewalls logged thousands of connection attempts from IP addresses traced to Iran, Russia, and China. The attempts were sophisticated enough to avoid triggering automatic lockouts, but obvious enough that security teams noticed. Reports were filed with the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. Those reports are sitting in somebody's inbox right now, unread. On February 23rd, yesterday morning, the United States launched precision airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities and military installations. 27 targets were hit. Iranian casualties are estimated at over 300, including several senior Revolutionary Guard commanders. The White House called it a proportional response to Iranian aggression. Tehran called it an act of war, and they promised immediate retaliation. We thought they meant missiles. They meant malware. At 3:17 a.m. this morning, the attack went live. Malware that had been planted in banking systems over the past 6 days activated simultaneously across 7 major financial institutions. The malware didn't steal data. It didn't delete accounts. It did something worse. It encrypted the core transaction processing systems and corrupted the backup databases. Every bank maintains redundant systems specifically to prevent catastrophic failures. The Iranians hit all of them at once. Within 11 minutes, the entire U.S. banking network collapsed. Not just the big banks, regional banks, credit unions, payment processors like Visa and MasterCard, the systems that verify your card when you swipe it, the systems that move money between accounts, the systems that process payroll, all of it gone, frozen, inaccessible. This is exactly the kind of catastrophic failure you need to understand if you want to survive what's coming next. If that matters to you, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss critical survival updates. Because what I'm about to show you is how a modern economy dies when the money stops flowing. Let me show you the receipts. Receipt number 1, the technical devastation. According to leaked internal assessments from JPMorgan Chase, the largest bank in the United States, the attackers deployed what's being called a triple-layer attack. Layer 1 encrypted the production databases where all account information and transactions are stored. Layer 2 corrupted the backup systems that were supposed to restore functionality in case of primary system failure. Layer 3 installed rootkits in the core banking software itself. Malicious code buried so deep in the system that it can't be removed without completely rebuilding the infrastructure from scratch. The encryption used is military grade, specifically a variant of AES 512 that would take current supercomputers approximately 8,000 years to crack through brute force. The Iranians aren't planning to give us the decryption keys. They want the systems to stay frozen. The corruption of backup databases was particularly insidious. Banks maintain multiple redundant copies of all data, specifically for disaster recovery. The malware identified those backup systems and systematically corrupted them before activating the encryption on the primary systems. It's like burning down someone's house and then destroying the blueprints so they can't rebuild. The rootkits are the worst part. Even if banks somehow manage to decrypt the data or restore from backups, the rootkits would immediately reinfect the systems. The only solution is to completely tear down the existing infrastructure and rebuild from known clean baseline images. That process, under ideal conditions with unlimited resources, takes weeks. We don't have weeks. We don't even have days. Receipt number 2, the cascade failure. When the core banking systems went down, everything that depends on them went down too. Payroll processing companies like ADP and Paychex can't access bank accounts to deposit paychecks. Millions of Americans who were expecting direct deposit this Friday aren't getting paid. Not delayed, not late, just not getting paid. Credit card transactions are failing nationwide. Every business that accepts cards, which is basically every business, is suddenly operating in a cash-only environment, except nobody carries cash anymore. According to Federal Reserve data, the average American has $47 in physical currency. That's it. Everything else is digital, and digital is currently on fire. Online payment systems like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, they all rely on connections to underlying bank accounts. Those connections are severed. Peer-to-peer payments are dead, e-commerce is dead, Amazon can't process orders, Uber can't charge riders, Netflix can't bill subscribers. The entire digital economy just flatlined. Automated bill payments have stopped. Your mortgage, your car payment, your utilities, your insurance. None of those automated payments are going through, which means millions of Americans are about to default on obligations through no fault of their own. Credit scores are going to be destroyed. Late fees are going to pile up. Foreclosure notices are going to start arriving. The financial damage from this attack will persist for years, even after the systems come back online. Receipt number 3, the cash crisis. When people can't access their digital money, they want physical money. ATM lines started forming at 6 a.m. By 8 a.m., those lines stretched for blocks. By 10 a.m., the ATMs were empty. Banks keep limited cash on hand because almost everything is digital now. A typical bank branch might have $50,000 in physical currency. Well, when you have 500 people trying to withdraw $500 each, the math doesn't work. The Federal Reserve has emergency cash reserves, but getting that cash distributed to hundreds of thousands of bank branches and ATM locations requires armored trucks, security personnel, and functioning logistics networks. In a normal crisis, this takes days. In a crisis where nobody can use credit cards to buy gas for the armored trucks, it takes longer. The Fed is estimating they can get emergency cash distributed to major urban areas within 72 hours. Rural areas might wait a week or more, but here's the problem that nobody wants to talk about. There isn't enough physical cash in the entire United States to replace digital money even temporarily. The total physical currency in circulation is about $2.3 trillion. The total amount of money in bank accounts is over $18 trillion. If even 10% of Americans try to withdraw physical cash simultaneously, the system runs dry instantly, and we're way past 10%. This is a bank run in the digital age, and it's happening in real time. Receipt number 4, the economic paralysis. When people can't spend money, the economy stops. Gas stations that only accept cards are shut down. Grocery stores are overwhelmed with panicked shoppers trying to spend the last of their physical cash before it runs out. Small businesses that operate on thin margins are about to go bankrupt because they can't process sales and can't pay employees. The stock market was supposed to open this morning. It didn't. The New York Stock Exchange relies on banking systems to settle trades. With those systems down, trading is impossible. Every retirement account, every 401k, every mutual fund is frozen. You can't buy. You can't sell. You can just watch and wait and hope your life savings are still there when the lights come back on. International markets are in free fall. The dollar is collapsing against other currencies because global investors are fleeing anything denominated in dollars. If American banks are frozen, how can anyone trust dollar-based transactions? Asian and European markets are down 15 to 20%. That's Great Depression level movement in a single day. This channel exists to connect the dots so you understand the full scope of what's happening. If you found this valuable, hit that like button so more people see this warning. Because what I'm about to tell you is how society breaks down when the money stops working. Let's talk about what's happening right now in major cities, because the situation on the ground is deteriorating by the hour. In New York City, grocery stores are being cleared out by panicked shoppers. The ones who got to the ATM early enough to pull cash are buying everything they can carry. The ones who didn't are being turned away at checkout when their cards decline. Fights are breaking out. Police are being called to supermarkets to manage crowds. This is America's financial capital, descending into chaos over access to food. Restaurants are closing because they can't process payments. Hotels are kicking out guests because credit cards won't authorize. Hospitals are in crisis mode because they can't verify insurance or process payments. Emergency rooms are legally required to treat patients regardless of ability to pay, but scheduled procedures are being canceled. If you were supposed to have surgery tomorrow and your hospital can't confirm your insurance, you're being rescheduled indefinitely. Gas stations are the flashpoint. The ones that accept cash are being swarmed. The ones that only take cards are closed. And America runs on gasoline. Truckers can't fuel up to make deliveries. Commuters can't get to work. Emergency vehicles are priority fueling from government reserves, but civilian access is gridlocked. Analysts are projecting that if this lasts more than 48 hours, food distribution to major cities will completely collapse. In Los Angeles, the situation is equally desperate. California has been pushing a cashless economy harder than most states. A huge percentage of businesses don't even keep cash registers anymore. They're tablet-based point-of-sale systems that require internet and bank connections. Those businesses are simply shut down. They can't operate. Street vendors who take cash are being overwhelmed. The informal economy is about to boom because it's the only economy that still works. The homeless population, ironically, is the least affected. They've always operated outside the banking system, but everyone else, from billionaires to middle-class families, is suddenly in the same boat. Your net worth doesn't matter if you can't access it. The CEO with $10 million in his account can't buy coffee if the system is frozen. Welcome to equality through collapse. Now, let's talk about what the government is doing, because the response reveals how unprepared we are for this scenario. The Treasury Department activated emergency protocols at 5:30 a.m. The Federal Reserve opened discount windows to provide emergency liquidity to banks, but that liquidity is useless if the systems can't process it. It's like sending water to put out a fire when the pipes are melted. The FBI's cyber division has mobilized every available agent and contractor. They're working with the National Security Agency, Cyber Command, and private cybersecurity firms to analyze the malware and attempt recovery. But this isn't a problem you fix with more people. The Iranians built this attack over months. They tested it, they refined it, they knew exactly how to hit us where it hurts most. Undoing that damage requires time we don't have. The president's address to the nation is scheduled for noon. According to leaks from speechwriters, he's going to declare a national economic emergency. He's going to invoke emergency powers to suspend certain banking regulations. He's going to order the military to assist with cash distribution. He's going to promise that the people responsible will be held accountable. But none of that fixes the immediate problem. Americans still can't access their money. Congress is scrambling to pass emergency legislation. There's talk of temporarily suspending late payment penalties, halting foreclosures and evictions, providing emergency cash stipends to families. But legislation takes days to write and vote on. And how do you distribute emergency payments when the payment systems are frozen? Mail checks? We haven't done that since COVID, and it took weeks. We don't have weeks. International response has been muted. NATO allies are expressing support, but they can't fix our banking system for us. China and Russia have issued statements condemning the cyberattack, while simultaneously suggesting that U.S. military aggression provoked it. They're not wrong. Iran explicitly said, this attack was retaliation. We punched them. They punched back. And they punched a lot harder than anyone expected. Iran's supreme leader gave a televised address 2 hours ago. He said, and I'm quoting the translation, America believes it can attack sovereign nations without consequence. Today they learned that their power is an illusion built on digital sand. We have not stolen their money. We have simply shown them that they never truly possessed it. Let this be a lesson. Attack Iran and your economy burns. It's propaganda, but it's also true. Our economy is burning right now. So what do you do? How do you survive the next 72 hours when you can't access your bank account? First, if you have any physical cash, guard it like your life depends on it, because it might. Don't flash it. Don't talk about how much you have. Keep it hidden and only spend what you absolutely need. Second, if you have assets you can convert to cash, do it now. Jewelry, electronics, anything with resale value. Pawn shops are about to see unprecedented traffic, and they're some of the few businesses that still operate entirely in cash. You're going to take a huge loss on whatever you sell, but having cash right now is more valuable than having stuff. Third, prioritize ruthlessly. Food and water first, medicine second. Fuel third. Everything else can wait. Don't waste cash on non-essentials. Your kid doesn't need new shoes this week. You need to eat. Fourth, band together. Check on neighbors, especially elderly or vulnerable people who might not have any cash at all. Pool resources, barter, trade. The formal economy is frozen, but the informal economy still works.